Good evening. I'm Gary Franchi, Next News Network Chief White House Correspondent, delivering the latest White House news from the past 24 hours in partnership with our streaming partner, Trump Daily Post. Tonight, the focus is the Trump administration's economic and national security message direct from the White House. Alongside President Trump's schedule in Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance's trip to Colorado for the United States Air Force Academy commencement that happened earlier. And according to the daily guidance, President Trump's Thursday schedule included executive time at 8 a.m., a pre-taped interview at 10 a.m., no word yet on who he was interviewing with, and then, of course, signing time in the Oval Office at 2, the policy meeting in the Oval at 3:30. The guidance also set a 2 p.m. on-camera briefing in the James S. Brady Briefing Room with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, making that appearance the administration's central public-facing event of the day. Now, from the in-town pool report, there were no public events on the president's schedule this morning under sunny skies at the White House, with attention centered on that afternoon Treasury briefing. The White House said that Secretary Bessent would provide updates from the Treasury Department, putting the administration's economic message front and center for the day. And the pool later reported lunch lid in effect until 1 p.m., a routine pause in official media activity ahead of the afternoon schedule, not simply kept the focus on the White House briefing window and the president's closed-door work in the Oval Office. The other major development from the in-town pool was confirmation from U.S. sources that a tentative agreement had been reached in the ongoing negotiations with Iran, subject to approval by President Trump. No details were released in the pool report, but the key point from the White House orbit is clear. The matter is now before the president. And at the podium, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he delivered what amounts to be a broad Trump administration readout on the economy and national security. The consumer-facing headline was Trump Accounts, which Bessent described as the most important benefit for young people since the GI Bill. He said the app is now live on major platforms. Nearly 6 million children have already signed up. The program is set to officially launch on July 4th. Treasury's mechanism is straightforward. Children born during President Trump's administration receive a $1,000 seed investment paired with online learning pods designed to build financial literacy and help create what the administration calls a new generation of shareholders. Bessent also stacked a series of upbeat indicators for American families and savers. He said the average tax refund is running near $3,300, up 11%. 62 million returns, or 44% claimed at least one signature tax cut. Real GDP is up 2.6% over 4 quarters. And the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now estimate for the second quarter is 3.8%. The average 401k is up nearly $30,000. And Trump's prescription drug savings have topped $600 million, and unemployment currently stands at 4.3%. The administration's message was unmistakable. Under President Trump, the economy is producing results that reach households directly. And on energy and Iran, Bessent said oil prices were down about 10% in May. The market is well supplied, and gasoline prices should follow once supply clears through the system. He also repeated 3 red lines in dealing with Iran. Tehran must turn over highly enriched uranium, abandon their nuclear program, and keep the Strait of Hormuz open. On legal matters involving the DOJ Anti-Weaponization Fund and an IRS settlement issue, he limited comment because of ongoing litigation, while stating plainly that no American should be targeted for political reasons and referring legal questions to DOJ and the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. He also touched several other points quickly. No central bank digital currency, or CBDC as we call them. The Treasury is also preparing in case Congress advances a $250 bill. That's legislation while pledging to follow the law. That bill would feature President Trump. Sanctions pressure does remain in view on Russian oil, and the administration says the Antifa funding investigation is still active. And away from Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance's day began in Colorado Springs, where the pool reported his motorcade rolling from the overnight location at 8:32 this morning, local time, for the Air Force Academy graduation. The weather there was gray and rainy, and the vice president was scheduled to deliver his remarks at Falcon Stadium during the 9 a.m. commencement. And the Vice President's motorcade arrived at Falcon Stadium at about 8:37 a.m. with the pool stage near the field waiting his appearance. The White House official guiding the pool expected Vance to enter around 9:10 ahead of the graduating class, and remarks from the Academy and Air Force leadership. The pool then reported that Vice President Vance's commencement remarks were underway. 9:45 delivered from the dais at midfield before the class of 2026. Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who traveled with the Vice President, was seated in the front row of the VIP section. Vance wrapped his address at 10:14. The pool noted several key themes. He stressed the need for American air and space power to adapt to new threats. They're tied to that mission and President Trump's commitment to stopping Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Highlighted the president's backing for the F-47 and the Golden Dome programs and for increased defense spending. He praised the rescue of the downed U.S. pilots in Iran and warned that even in the age of artificial intelligence, life and death decisions must remain in human hands. The overnight setup for that trip came after Air Force Two landed in Colorado Springs at 8:59 p.m. local Wednesday in cool temperatures and light rain. The Vice President and the Second Lady, they deplaned last night, 9:15, entering the motorcade and rolled out at 9:17. Now, the Vice President arrived at his overnight location last night, 9:58 p.m., ending his official activities for that evening. And earlier on Wednesday, the White House had advised that Vice President Vance was traveling to Colorado to stay overnight in the Colorado Springs area to deliver that commencement address at the United States Air Force Academy that happened this morning. The initial pool notice established that the purpose of the trip and the departure from Joint Base Andrews. The follow-up pool reported showed Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance arriving at the joint base around 7:24 p.m. That was aboard Marine 2, crossing the tarmac, boarding Air Force 2 at 7:29 p.m. And the Vice President, he waved to the press, didn't take any questions. Energy Secretary Chris Wright also joined that flight west. Now, so taken together, the past 24 hours show a White House focused on economic delivery, national security decision-making, and visible engagement with the next generation of American service members. President Trump's team projected confidence on growth and energy and kept Iran decisions at the presidential level and put Vice President Vance before future Air Force officers with a clear America First message on strength and readiness. And with that, the White House update is complete. We'll turn now to the rest of the top stories shaping the day across the country and the world.